Have you ever looked at a dog and thought, wow, that's the one? Maybe it's the long, silky coat of an Afghan hound, or the spotted perfection of a Dalmatian. But what if I told you some of the most beautiful, famous, and Instagram perfect dogs are actually the worst possible choice for first-time owners? Why? Because beneath that adorable face could be a tornado of energy, stubbornness, or high-maintenance chaos you're just not ready for. So today we're diving into the 5 dog breeds that are not for beginners. These dogs are stunning, powerful, and fascinating, but they can also push you to your absolute limit. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which breeds to admire from afar and which ones to actually bring home. Ready to see if you could handle them? Let's find out. Number 1, the Afghan Hound. At first glance, the Afghan Hound looks like royalty. That long, flowing coat, that elegant stride, it's like watching a runway model in fur. But what happens when that model moves into your house? Every single day, you'll need to brush that silky coat. Every single day. Miss just 1 or 2, and you're dealing with tangles, mats, and a grooming bill that might make you question your life choices. And then there's the temperament. Afghans are independent, almost cat-like. They don't exist to please you. They exist to be themselves. Can you train one? Sure, but it takes time, patience, and a good sense of humor, because they'll often look at you like, why should I sit? I look amazing just standing. Ask yourself, do you want a dog that listens instantly, or one that stares through your soul like an ancient philosopher deciding if you're worth the effort? If you're new to dog ownership, the Afghan might leave you frustrated and slightly heartbroken. Number 2, the Basenji. Meet the Basenji, often called the barkless dog. Sounds perfect, right? A quiet companion? No noise complaints? No howling at 2 a.m.? But here's the twist. The silence hides a storm. Basenjis are clever, fast, and mischievous. They don't bark, but they yodel. And when they get bored, you'll wish they did bark, because the destruction speaks louder than words. Imagine leaving the house for work and coming back to find your couch in shreds, your shoes missing, and your dog staring proudly at the chaos like, you should have entertained me. Training a Basenji feels like negotiating with a teenager who's too smart for their own good. They question every command, test every rule, and can climb, jump, and problem solve like a tiny 4-legged escape artist. Could you handle that kind of intelligence? If you can't provide daily challenges, puzzles, and long walks, a Basenji will create their own adventures. And trust me, you won't like what they discover. Number 3, the Bullmastiff. Now let's talk about power. The Bullmastiff is massive, muscular, stoic, and loyal. When they walk into a room, people notice. But here's what most people don't realize. With great power comes great responsibility. A Bullmastiff can weigh over 120 pounds. They were bred to guard estates and pin down intruders without harming them. That instinct is still alive and well. So when a delivery driver approaches your gate or a neighbor's kid runs across the yard, your Bullmastiff's protective instincts can activate instantly. Without proper socialization and training from day 1, that gentle giant can become anxious, overprotective, or even dangerous. And training a dog that weighs as much as you do? That's no easy task. Ask yourself, are you confident enough to handle a dog that could literally drag you across the street if it wanted to? Are you ready to establish boundaries early, with calm, firm consistency? Because if not, the Bullmastiff will take charge, and you'll be the one following its lead. They're loyal and loving, but they require a level of discipline and respect that first-time owners rarely have from the start. Number 4, the Chow Chow. Don't be fooled by the fluffy fur and teddy bear face. The Chow Chow is not your average cuddle buddy. Under that lion-like mane lies one of the most independent and territorial breeds in the dog world. Think of them as the aristocrats of the canine kingdom. They love their people, but on their own terms. They're not fans of strangers, and sometimes not even other dogs. In fact, many owners describe them as a cat trapped in a dog's body. A Chow Chow will test your patience like no other. They can be stubborn, easily offended, and occasionally dramatic. Tell them to come. They'll look at you like, perhaps later. Without early socialization, they can become overly protective, or worse, aggressive. And grooming? That thick coat sheds heavily and needs constant care. Could you really handle a dog that demands respect, not affection? Because with a Chow Chow, love isn't freely given, it's earned. And when you do earn it, you'll have one of the most loyal companions on earth. But for beginners, it's a tough road. Number 5, the Dalmatian. They're iconic, they're beautiful, they're movie stars. But the Dalmatian isn't the easygoing family dog Disney led you to believe.
This breed is pure energy wrapped in spots. They were bred to run beside carriages for miles, guarding horses and property along the way. That stamina hasn't faded with time. It's built in.
If you're not ready to exercise your Dalmatian for hours every day, get ready for chaos. They'll chew, dig, bark, and bounce off the walls like they've had 3 cups of espresso. They're also prone to certain health issues like deafness and skin sensitivities, which require attentive care. Combine that with their need for constant stimulation, and you've got a recipe for burnout, yours and theirs. Could you keep up with a Dalmatian's endless drive? Because if you can't, they'll find their own outlets, and your furniture won't survive. So there you have it, the 5 breeds that might make first-time owners think twice. The Afghan Hound, Basenji, Bullmastiff, Chow Chow, and Dalmatian. Each one is beautiful. Each one is extraordinary. But they all require something beyond love. They demand experience, structure, and understanding. And that's the real secret to dog ownership. It's not just about finding a dog that looks good. It's about finding a dog that fits you. So ask yourself, do you want a dog that challenges you or one that grows with you? Are you looking for a calm companion or a demanding teacher in disguise? Because when you choose the right breed, you're not just getting a pet, you're welcoming a lifelong partner. And if you're new to this journey, don't worry. There are plenty of beginner-friendly breeds that will love you, teach you, and grow alongside you. But these 5, admire them, respect them, and maybe someday when you're ready, earn them. If you've ever owned one of these breeds, share your experience in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more dog wisdom, breed breakdowns, and training secrets. Because here's the truth.
Every dog has a story, but only the right owner can give it a happy ending.